Hey everyone, welcome to a special live episode of Conejo Valley Visionaries, recorded during our sold-out second annual Female Founders event at Hub 101 in Westlake Village. Picture a room filled with founders, creatives, and community leaders gathered for an evening of inspiration, connection, and honest conversation. We began the night with a grounding, tapping, and breathwork session led by Monica Bloom of the Blooming Space Band, creating the perfect tone for the evening ahead. We then heard from an incredible group of women who are shaping our community, including Gacia Tachejian of Laidrey Coffee Roasters, Dr. Rachel Cappuccino, Hilary Linderman of Rabbits and Oaks, Dr. Bieta Kia, and Lindsey Colhoun of Lindsay Colhoun Interior Design and Haven by LCD. Together, they share their perspectives on what it really takes to build a brand, from the importance of taking care of yourself, to leaning on community, to navigating the full journey of growing a business from idea to momentum. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a creative, or simply looking for inspiration from women who are building something meaningful, this conversation is for you. If you want to experience the energy of the room and see the panelists in person, you can watch the live recording on YouTube or Spotify. And if you want to be a part of our next Conejo Valley Visionaries live event, follow Conejo Valley Visionaries at Conejo Valley Visionaries, and you'll find out the latest and greatest from there. If you enjoy this episode and find value in the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and rating. This helps more people find the podcast, and therefore each story can reach more folks in the Conejo Valley. Thank you all again for being at the second annual Conejo Valley Visionaries Live Female Founders event. This is literally a year ago on March 24th. I held the first event here at Hub 101, and I'm grateful for them as partners to bring this to life. The idea last year was celebrating International Women's Month, and having met so many incredible female entrepreneurs out here in the Conejo Valley, I thought there was no better way to celebrate and kick off the first of these Conejo Valley Visionary Live events. And so it's a great joy to see that so many faces here, new and folks that I already know, all in one room. So thank you all for being here. I'll say it again, Hub 101, thank you for hosting us. If you would like to try it out, there's going to be a day pass link in the email following up. So definitely give it a shot. So my name is Christina Denstead. If for those of you that I don't know, I host a podcast called Conejo Valley Visionaries, which is the podcast that I started to really highlight the local business owners here. My story is that I've lived out here only for 5 years, and I came out here for a job and ultimately to raise my 7-year-old twins. This was 5 years ago. Lots of things have happened since then, and ultimately decided to stay in the Conejo Valley, and found 2 years ago that I wanted to connect a bit deeper to the area that I was going to be living and raising my children, and that's why I started a podcast. And it's been 2 years, and it's been a lot of fun. We've interviewed some incredible founders, and if you haven't already checked it out, this is the 5th season. We're 13 episodes into the 5th season, so you might notice some faces here. If you have not already checked out the podcast, I'd love for you to go and visit it. It's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Spotify, on YouTube. This QR code, I'll send this in the follow-up email too, will take you to the Female Visionaries playlist on YouTube so that you can listen and watch all of the amazing female entrepreneurs I've had the opportunity to interview so far. And of course, we have some amazing founders in the panels today, as well as I believe in the room. If you are a business owner or want to be one, do you mind raising your hand? Yes, that's incredible. I love it. I'm so, the idea with this event was to bring people together to just get to know the owners of your favorite local businesses, but then it really came out of the woodwork how many of you are also either running your own business or starting one. So this intention of this event, it's going to be packed, but the intention is really to give you tools to not only support the business that you're running, maybe inspire you to start your own, or just meet and connect with new friends. So we're going to be doing a lot. But first, in order to help us transition from our earlier day selves into feel a little bit more grounded and present for the event, I'm thrilled to invite up Monica Bloom, who is the owner. She's a Ayurveda, did I say that right? Ish, coach. Ayurveda, oh my gosh, Ayurveda coach. She's also the owner of the Blooming Space van, which you might see out in the parking lot, which she started a year ago in response to the fires in the Palisades and in Malibu. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that intention when you started it?
Yeah, so I was in Wisconsin on that day. My mom was having heart surgery, so I was there for 3 weeks, and I was watching LA burning down on the TV, and I was like, I had a lot of hard things happen a couple years before that too, like moving, divorce, breast cancer, job loss, like everything. Pew! And that was the moment where I was like, we all go through really hard things, like all at the same time. And you can't always see them on TV. So I'm going to build a van now. And so I spent 2025, I was in Wisconsin. I sourced a van in North Hollywood. I was like, hold that thing. I'm going to be home. Save it for me. And I'm going to go get it. And I got it. And then I don't know how to build a van. I just used YouTube and Home Depot and my neighbors to help drill things. And it's outside. So we go through a little process in the van for 20 minutes to reset our minds, reset our energy. We work on one stressor in the van, and it is dropping stress levels from like a 9 to a 2, sometimes like big leaps. So we're going to do a little part of that today as we get started to just warm you up. How I use Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the science of longevity, in case you don't know what that is. It's mind, body, spirit balance, and I used it mostly in corporate when I burnt out from a 3-hour daily commute in San Francisco, and I had a toddler, and I had a startup team that I had to run, and we sucked. So, so then what I'm going to teach you is some of the stuff that I worked on for myself, and then I taught my team, and then we grew to number 1. Okay? So I use this to this day with my one-on-one clients. I want you to think about 3 words, 3 adjectives that describe your best self, the best version of you. Adjectives that somebody would say, she is so. 1, 2, 3. What would they say about you? Or what do you want them to say about you? You got it? When you got your words, raise your hand, and we're going to do a little something with the words. And you got to take off your glasses. We're going to tap on your face. You got your words? 3 words. Okay, you ready? Okay, everybody got their words? Okay. Mine are playful, generous, and world-class, if that gives you any inspiration. Don't say caring. We all care. You. Like, what is you? Firecracker. Gamer. I'm a boss. Whatever. Okay? All right. So you're just going to follow me. You don't really need to know what to do. I want you to follow me. We're going to tap on our face and our head. You're going to recite the words in your own head, 3 words, 3 times. So you're going to go 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in your head, and the 1, 2, 3 are the words. You get it? Okay, we can do this. All right? Follow me. We're going to start on the eyebrow point. 3 words, 3 times in your mind. Good. Side of the eye, right here in your temple. Under the eye, on the eye bone now. Good. Under the nose. Chin. Top of the head. Back of the head. On the collarbone, you're going to put an I am in front of each one of those. All right. Give me a big inhale. Exhale. Do 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Hands together. Press your hands. Keep your eyes closed. When your hands are hot, place them over your closed eyes. Hands in place, leave them there. Open your eyes and let the light in between your fingers. When you're ready, you can release your hands. Woo! Oh, you're all good.
Wow. That was amazing. Thank you, Monica. I've never done tapping before, and I really like when you had to say the affirmation with I am, it was like, it really felt like it was coming to life. So what an awesome exercise, and we should be doing that how often?
I'll just do it every day.
Okay, thank you, Monica, everybody. Thank you. Okay, so next up, after we feel, does everybody feel good and grounded? I feel awesome. I'm thrilled to invite up two guests from the podcast who were both listener-nominated guests. So each season I try to get our listenership, the community, to vote for or recommend somebody to come on the podcast. And our next two guests, Bieta Kia and Rachel Cappuccino, if you can join me up here on the chairs, were two of our nominated guests. Hi, ladies. Both are incredible physical therapists here in the Conejo Valley. Rachel focuses on pelvic floor health, no matter what age you are or what gender, right? And Bieta focuses on injury prevention, looking at the root cause, how we can all feel better. And today, the panel, so if you haven't already, please go and listen to their full career journeys, which you can find on the podcast or on YouTube. But what we're going to talk about today is the cost of doing it all in terms of our bodies, and how some of these things, since so many of us are business owners, but also as women, how like what we're doing on a day-to-day impacts us. So before we get to that though, let's talk about your business. Do you want to give us a little bit of a summary, Rachel, of your practice?
Hi, everyone. Is this on?
I think it's
so.
working. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rachel Cappuccino. I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist. Like this? Oh, there we go. Okay. I don't use the microphone often, so I am the owner of Cappuccino Physical Therapy in Westlake, and so it's myself and three other women who are doctors of physical therapy, and we specialize in treating pelvic floor dysfunction. So that's leaking urine with coughing, sneezing, running, jumping, pelvic organ prolapse, feeling like something is falling out down there, postpartum recovery, C-section, scar pain, endometriosis, interstitial cystitis, anything that you can think of. Women's health issues. And I started my practice because so many women are just told to live with all of these symptoms because we're just written off because we're women and we're supposed to deal with it. And that's not true. There are so many symptoms that are so common but not normal, especially after giving birth and even not surrounding birth, just pelvic pain. And our goal is to change that and allow women to live the lives that they want without pelvic floor symptoms.
Amazing. Bieta?
Hi, everyone. I'm also not used to using a mic, and my voice is usually loud enough, so we'll see if it gets too loud. So I am also a physical therapist, and I own my own practice. It's called Bieta Kia Physical Therapy, and it's primarily sports, orthopedic, physical therapy, but it's all manual-based. So it's a little bit different than your traditional rehab model. It's actually a lot different than your traditional rehab model. And it's all hands-on approach. So it's almost the best way I can describe it is starting backwards. So whether looking at the fascia, the tendons, the muscles, the ligaments, all the things that come underneath the joints and the muscles that we feel that hurt. So it's finding the root cause of what's causing these symptoms that you feel and are limiting your day-to-day activities. So I do one-on-one. It's just me. And so that way I can spend the entire time with my clients, and I'm with them for an hour from the beginning to end. And it's kind of a fun journey to figure out what's happening and why you're having the symptoms you're having and getting everyone back to their normal life. But my goal is usually to get everyone on a wellness plan. So you come with an injury, you come with pain, but you leave within a couple sessions without pain. And my treatment's pretty aggressive as far as wanting results. I get very invested. And then to come in as you want based on wellness. You want to come once a month, however often, to kind of keep the pain away. But
Thank you. So what do you see? I feel like we all have these busy lives. We maybe put health on the back burner. Mm-hmm. So is there something that you've seen with your women patients that maybe they tend to ignore and then they've come in when it's gone too far?
Yes, everything. So especially with us, we work with a lot of moms. And as moms, I'm a mom myself. I have 2 young children. We just tend to put ourselves last because we're so busy taking care of other people. And I think my advice to people is go get help sooner rather than later, especially if you're dealing with issues surrounding childbirth or any kind of pelvic floor concerns, because they most likely will get worse later in life when you go through menopause. And so just don't put yourself on the back burner is what we like to tell people. We're here, and especially since we work in the postpartum space a lot, our goal is to take care of mom so that mom can take care of baby. It's just so important.
Yeah. Bieta, what about for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would piggyback 100% on that. Even in the orthopedic sports world, I think aches and pains, we all feel them, especially as we age, and especially if you're involved in athletics of any sort. And so I think we just think, oh, it'll go away, or I'll give it some time, it'll go away. And that's the biggest issue I see, because a lot of times an acute injury is a lot easier to fix and a lot faster than when it turns into subacute, then it turns into chronic, or it turns into this yo-yo of, oh, I'm good. And then it comes back. I reached for a coffee cup and my back went out again. There were signs before that.
Yeah.
And so I think being able to kind of address those things early on saves us a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of discomfort.
Have you found in running your own business that you've also ignored some of these things, or?
My wrist hurts right now. I need to come and see you. I woke up this morning. I was like, what is this? But yes, both of us, we are moms of young kids and primary business owners. And it's hard. It's hard to make time for myself. I find myself often like, oh, when am I going to go see the doctor? When am I going to make this appointment? But I think it's just really important to prioritize yourself as a business owner and a mom or a parent. Just, you got to take care of yourself. Again, to take care of your children, you got to take care of yourself. So trying to practice what I preach.
Why did you, speaking about your business, there's different ways as a physical therapist you could go. You could join a practice, but you just both decided to start your own. What was the initial, why did you want to go that route?
So for me, my why, and I always have to come back to this too when I'm having a hard day in business, was because I wanted to have a flexible schedule to spend time with my children. So I started my practice when my daughter was 6 months old and my son was almost 2. So started with 2 under 2, which I don't know why I did that, but we're okay. We're doing well. Yeah. But now my son is in TK and I get to volunteer in his class and I get to go pick him up. And I always knew that was my why. I never wanted to work full time as a mom. I did still want to work because I love being a physical therapist. I love what I do, but I wanted the flexibility to be able to spend time with my children. And now that I have school age children and seeing this come together, it's like, oh, okay, wow, this was worth it. I did it. So it's cool. Yeah.
So now that they're in school, are you working more?
Not yet, because he's in TK and he gets out at 1:30 or 1:20 or something. And so it's like confusing. And then next year he'll be in kindergarten and she'll be in TK. And so it's in 2 years, I'll be able to work more.
Still got some time.
Yeah, we're almost there.
What about you, Bieta?
Truthfully, I always knew I wanted to be on my own, and the treatment approach that I do, I've done for the last 13, 14 years. So I know it's effective. And I got to the point where I felt like I was being held back by insurance companies, by the clinics I was working for, and not to their blame, but it was just kind of the rules and regulations of how the physical therapy world works. And so little by little, my autonomy was kind of being stripped away, and I was being told to treat for this long or to build these codes. And I got to the point where I was getting very frustrated, and I wanted to, and I don't like people telling me what to do.
Same.
So I was like, this is a perfect time. And similar to Rachel, my oldest was 10 months, right after COVID. So it was definitely not the time. But 4 years later, here we are.
Amazing. What's it like? What do you, for those who maybe are wanting to start something, what is it like running a business in the Conejo Valley? I know, Rachel, you are originally from out here. Bieta, you're like me, moved out here later on in life. What's it like running a business here?
It's been really fun. I will say I think my favorite part has been meeting other business owners and being able to refer out to other business owners, especially in the birth world and postpartum and pregnancy space. And then being involved in the mom community out here, like I'm involved in Fit for Mom and all the mom things, which is perfect for my business since our target audience is typically pregnant and postpartum moms. And so it's just been really fun to give back to my community, to be involved in my community, and to work with other business owners in the Conejo Valley.
Yeah, so I've lived here now for 8 years, which is crazy to say because it doesn't feel like it's been 8 years.
I know, when I was updating that slide for me, I was like, whoa, 5 years. Crazy how the time flies.
But so for me, where I'm from Minnesota, and so when I was there, it was kind of, I had this group, right? If someone had this pain, I would send them there. If this one, I was kind of the connector. And so it was hard to start that and start a new business. So it's been really, really cool and fun to kind of build on that and meet so many wonderful business owners and people. And I am blessed and lucky enough that majority of my practice is word of mouth. And so it's been like getting connected and it's realizing how small and connected everybody is. So it's been really fun.
There's going to be a breakout session later talking about refining your value proposition. You both have very distinct like niches. Can you share with us how you got to being so clear on what you wanted to do and how you wanted to treat?
Yes. So I have been a physical therapist since 2014, and I started in orthopedics like Bieta, but then in 2018, it was around the time my husband and I were starting to talk about having kids. And I always in the back of my mind thought about starting my own practice, but I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't have that personality. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, wait, there's like 800 orthopedic clinics, PT clinics in the area, but there's very few pelvic floor clinics. So I was like, this could be a good specialty. I'm going to probably have kids soon. I'm going to be meeting moms who are going to be having kids as well, and I can help them. So that's what got me into my niche, and that's pretty much what happened. I took my first pelvic floor course in 2018, and then I went to work at a different practice in 2020, but then there was COVID and I was pregnant, and it was like, okay. And then that's what led me to start. I was like, this is the time. Let's do this, and let's be very specific. And I think being so specific and so niche down was very helpful for my success and why I grew so quickly too.
Interesting. Yeah, and I remember you mentioned there's like a mentor group that helped you too, so it like allowed you to maybe have access to very specific resources.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
If anyone needs advice, like find a coach, find a business coach. I used my business coach. I started working with them pretty much at the same time that I started my practice, which was also helpful for just like having systems in place, like what to do when somebody calls, have a call log, tracking metrics and KPIs and all those fun things that like they don't teach you that in PT school. I don't know. They don't teach you marketing in PT school. So it was really helpful. So if anyone needs advice, find some sort of business coach that is specific to your markets.
Cool. Yeah, that's helpful. What about you, Bieta? How did you decide to go on the hands-on route?
Well, honestly, I think I got lucky in the fact that when I first started as a physical therapist, I got hired on by an amazing company that it's unheard of at this point. But they trained every new staff for 8 weeks before we were allowed to put hands on patients. And then they did tracking of our specific treatment approach on how certain injuries were responding. So for example, shoulder injury, if I would see them for 4 visits, they would get to, our goal was 85%. And then they would track that for an insurance company. And so I got lucky to be trained in that setting and realize like, wow, like you don't have to go to physical therapy 3 times a week for the rest of your life. Like this works. Insurance companies don't love it.
Right.
So that was kind of, and then it got to the point where I was like, this works and I've done it for so long and I'm going to keep doing it.
Okay. I love it. Well, both of you have been running your practices here successfully, obviously making a big impact on the community, both being the listener nominated guest. What's a piece of advice you would offer to a first-time female entrepreneur?
Honestly, go for it. It's scary. It's so scary, but I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You can fail and you go back and work for wherever you were working before, or you could fly and be a really successful business owner. So I think my advice is just go for it.
I will never go back. I mean, it's one of those things that you're so happy that you're able to do it all. You can have your business, you can have what you're passionate about, you can have your family, you can have all the things. It takes a little bit of maneuvering and balancing, but and again, like Rachel said, worst thing that happens is it doesn't work out. There's a lot of things in life that doesn't work out. So I'm sure we've experienced that in one way or another. So I would say the same thing. Good answer. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Bieta, for joining us tonight. Thank you for all that you're doing. If anybody wants to ask you questions afterwards, will you hang out and see? Okay, yep. Great. Well, thank you both for being here, and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay, so like I said, we're going to try to pack a lot in. Next up, I am excited to invite two other previous guests who are going to talk to us about community and the importance of involving the community as part of the brand that you're building. So if you can help me welcome Hilary Linderman of Rapids and Oaks and Gacia Tachejian of Laidrey Coffee Roasters. Come on up, ladies. Raise your hand if you've been to Laidrey. Awesome. Yeah, this is Gacia has a location in Agora and then 2 locations in the Valley. And what about Hilary's artwork? I feel like if you follow me on Instagram, you see me wearing my Conejo Valley hat all the time. Hilary's business, I'm going to let you describe what Rapids and Oaks is. But when I first moved out here, was always looking for, like as for a baby gift to give somebody a Thousand Oaks onesie or a Conejo Valley t-shirt or something. And when I discovered Rapids and Oaks and the amazing apparel you create and the art prints, it was like there's somebody doing it and also like really doing it well with an awesome approach. So Hilary, do you mind explaining Rapids and Oaks and kind of how you got to opening it?
Yeah. Okay. We're working. Okay. So Rapids and Oaks is like a local art and apparel company that I started, rooted here in the Conejo Valley. I do illustration and often block printed designs that I then turn into wearable and functional pieces, basically like souvenirs for the locals and for all of us, so we can like shine a little pride on this area we live in.
Amazing. Okay, Gacia, tell us about Laidrey. How would you describe Laidrey to somebody who maybe hasn't checked out the coffee shop yet?
Oh, good. Okay, so Laidrey is a specialty coffee shop that does not feel like a specialty coffee shop. So we want you to walk in and feel at home. So a place where you can escape your busy day, just like how you're supposed to take care of your health. I think part of that is also taking care of doing what makes you happy, what gives you peace, what makes you feel seen, what makes you feel good. And so Laidrey is where coffee feels like home. And so that's how I would describe it.
I love that. So let's talk about home. Why did you both decide to build brands that have like a very strong connection to the Conejo Valley?
So my husband is a huge Agora fan. He went to Agora High School. He lived here most of his life. And I lived in the Valley. And then I moved to New York City for some time. And we moved back to have kids. And he was dead set on our kids going to school out here. And so that's how I started discovering the neighborhood. My son goes to Oak Hills Elementary in Oak Park. And I was really impressed with the community and how it actually feels like a community. Everyone that had lived here forever. And they were so prideful of their community. And I loved how there was a lot of small businesses, and people were supporting small businesses, all the local grocery stores, all the local like artisanal stuff that is sold here, and everything is of such great quality, which was super impressive because you'll go to rural areas and the quality, just goes down. And I was just so impressed with how people were so welcoming, so into each other and supporting each other. And all the moms that I met in my son's school, and just how welcoming I felt. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do something here. And there was a gap in specialty coffee specifically. So I would drop my son off at school, and you know how sometimes they tell you to come back in 2 hours? And you like can't find a place to get a good cup of coffee. And so I was like, maybe I'll do that here.
That'll be the third location.
Yes.
That's smart. How about you, Hilary?
So I keep thinking about that term you used on the phone, boomerang. So I grew up in the Conejo Valley, and then I went off to college, and my husband and I did, the bar hopping thing on the west side in our 20s. And then it was like, okay, time to start a family. So we came back here, and we put down roots in Agora Hills, and it kind of like reinvigorated like this I had like another appreciation for the Conejo Valley. And in that time, I was looking around, and there was also like a gap. Like I couldn't find anything that I like gave an identity to this area as far as meaningful art or apparel or anything really. And I felt such pride here. So I just set out to do it myself. And I wanted to really connect with everybody around me by doing those kinds of pieces of art and apparel and other things.
How would you, if, it sounds like to both of you, community is a really important part of the brand. How do you recommend somebody go about creating a brand that people can feel really connected to?
I think you start with, we talked about this a little bit. What is it that you want to see in your community? What is it that would draw you in? What is it that you're looking for? And so for me, in Agora, what I really wanted was a place that was super interactive, a space that people could use as a place to work, really. So to me, it was important to create it in a way that felt sort of like a big circle, felt very warm, and I started to understand the people in the community, and I knew that it was something that they were looking for as well. So it first has to, I think, align with what you want to do, or else you're not going to execute it well. So if what you want and what the community wants aligns, then I think you really hone in on that and you build around it. And so I think, the greenery in our shop, green, it was not even part of my color palette for my brand, but it was just so green in Agora, and I really wanted to bring that in. So we have even like a mural inside that's like coffee/Agora, inside.
Quick follow-up question. You'd had 2 locations before that in the Valley, and Encino and Tarzana. Did you find that like connecting with community here was different?
Yes. I'm not going to talk shit on Tarzana and Encino. This is not.
Why we love it to do that in the Conejo Valley.
You guys, but the first day we opened, I'll never forget, I was working on bar. We were, giving out drinks, and we opened our doors, and I was worried because the plaza was like cursed or something. They had said how like so many businesses had opened there, and
the plaza in Agora where you're on Canaan.
Mm-hmm. Even though there are some businesses there that have been there for 20 plus years, but other ones just hadn't worked. And so, you do all the marketing you can, and then you hope for the best. So we opened our doors, and, people started walking in, and we were handing out coffee, calling out our orders. And I just was saying, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for trying us out. And they were like, no, thank you for being here. And I was like, what? Which was really nice. And I feel like the pace in Agora is a little different. I know that, we do our best to get everything out, within a short period of time. But even when it gets really crowded and really busy, knock on wood, I'm so thankful for it, and it takes a little bit longer, we don't get like the, where is it? I've been waiting 30 seconds.
Right, yeah.
It's not like that at all. And I'm so appreciative. And I think people in Agora, they ask me questions a lot. Like, yeah, they find me, and they're like, they just ask about the business. They really want to support. It's very nice.
I like to hear that. What about you, Hilary? How do you stay connected?
Well, I guess like community has really struck a chord with me of its importance. Like I know we're looking at a bunch of women here, a lot of parents, a lot of moms. So I think this will like resonate with everybody. But as a community, it's just so important because like I'll give you like a little insight to last year, a little like personal thing. Last year, my son was struggling a little bit in school, and we were like questioning, are we at the right school? Are we doing the right choices? Are we on the right path? And I had a friend, and she looked at me and she was like, listen, pretend like you can't make it to pick up, like last minute. Who can you call? Do you have a list of people you could call? And very quickly I realized, like, yeah, I have a very real list of people I can call, and not just people who could come, but people who like would come. And in return, people who I would show up for in the same way. So for me, it was a very like, wow, I have a community here. This is my village, right? So through my business, the way I connect that is that I, am making something not just for a product for customers, but I'm making something for my neighbors, for my friends, for that community. And I want to honor that always and make sure that we're sharing that. It's like shared pride, right, in our community. So yeah, that's one way of doing it. Yeah.
I love that. And what a nice way to like put context, because we were talking about this idea of when you're starting a business. In my example, like it felt very selfish to start it because it's like I was desiring feeling more connected to the Conejo Valley, but then it turns out maybe other people are. And then we've got a room full of incredible women here at Hub 101. And it's like, I think that ultimately is what's so interesting about starting a business, and especially when it's talking about community, even if it's the most overplayed word, like this idea of how you're building something not only for yourself, but other people who want to come closer to it and be a part of it. So yeah, I think that's a great point and something that I can really relate to. With your, with both of your businesses, actually, you really seem to lean into collaborations within said community, within the Conejo Valley. Can you talk us through why you do those and the importance of it in your business, and maybe how others can try it on their own?
Yeah, so in this community, it's been really easy. Lots of local business owners have walked in, like we sell honey from Malibu. We, sell olive oil from my friend Nina, who lives down the street. So many people in the community have come in, and I think that creating an inviting place and a place that feels like you could talk to whoever is working there. We sell a lot of retail products that are locally sourced, and I think that's it's been really nice to be able to do that. And the school, so we did this really fun thing with this 4th grade class from Willow Elementary. I don't know if there's any moms from that school, but the 4th grade class, they wrote inspiring notes on coffee sleeves. And it was a mom who came in and asked, can we do that? And I'm like, yes. So I really lean into the community. I listen to what people want to do, and I'm open to it. I think you just have to find a way. If it's easy for me to support, I'm always going to do it, because honestly, it's a win-win. People tell other people. Word of mouth is such a powerful thing, especially in this neighborhood. And so it's been really fun for me to be able to open the doors in that way and just allow the floodgates to come in. And I'm happy to do that all day long.
Your DMs are open. I know. I mean, it is like there is it's my whole like the thought about this area is there's not a lot of media outlets that are going to like let people know about your business. And I think partnering with other businesses or schools is one of the key ways to get the name out for your brand.
Yeah.
Has that been the case for you, Hilary?
Yeah, I think like my very first event was actually a Willow Spring Boutique. And a friend of mine who knew I was starting it, she's like, oh, there's this perfect thing coming up. You got to get in there. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it, right? But the response was so warm. And it's like what you're saying, like people are so supportive here and so uplifting. And then like I'm looking around the room and I see Carrie of Sunrose in front of me who, like I approached them a little while ago, and because of Christina, and you guys have opened up your place to support my business. And all those things, I feel like in this time of learning this business and trying it out, if you really just ask and put yourself out there, especially in this area, the response is positive and welcoming. So I think that it's really wonderful. And every time I do a pop-up market, an event, I'm now doing like these workshops where I, go to a restaurant and we host these workshops where I teach about the type of art I do, which is block printing. Every single time I do something, I make a new connection with someone, and that connection turns into something else. So like really, it's networking at the same time as working on your business.
I remember I met you for the first time at what is
Yeah,
that?
What was that? That was like a market?
Yeah, market, the moose something or I forgot.
Elks Lodge.
Elks Lodge, some sort of animal, Elks Lodge.
Same.
I know, and I went. And what I love, speaking of marketing, what I love about you is that you put everything out there. You're like, I'm at the Elks Lodge, and maybe turn up.
They've got a line for barbecue. Come on by.
Maybe it's not a huge turnout at the Elks Lodge.
Yeah.
But like you were there and you were smiling and you were talking about your product, and I think like sometimes that can feel uncomfortable and by putting yourself out there, then we got to connect deeper.
I know.
And then I feel like we've been able to expand on that relationship. So I am definitely a proponent for send that DM.
Right.
For me, I'm like, ask for coffee, do all those things. We have that ability here that is not maybe possible in other places like the Valley.
Right.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to ask the same question that I asked to Bieta and Rachel. What's one piece of advice you would offer to a first-time female entrepreneur?
Don't let fear get the best of you. Believe in yourself. I don't know, I was talking to you on the phone earlier.
You said this, I remember what you said because I wrote it down. You said,
This was really
you don't have to have proven success to be successful. And that really stuck with me. I was like, wow, gosh, it gave me like chills thinking about that.
Yeah, so if you're trying out something new, just like you said, go for it. The only experience I had in coffee or in food was when I was 16 years old. I worked at Starbucks for one summer. That was my experience. And I did something completely different for like 11 years. But the truth is, there's so much that you learn in life that can be applied to so many things. So obviously, I think it's important to have a support system around you when you're starting a business. So like I was listening to you and how you said you started a business to have a flexible schedule. God bless you, because when I started my business, that was the complete opposite. And be prepared for the unknown, and you can never prepare for the unknown. In the hospitality world, like I could be doing great one day, and the next day I could be doing horrible. Like there's just sometimes no rhyme or reason in some of the things we deal with, and don't let the fear get the best of you. And if you are always gonna wonder, then just go for it. What's the worst that could happen?
Hilary?
So similar, I'll come to that, but the first thing I want to say is I think it was Rachel who's mentioned this, was that like stay close to your why, right? Like as you're growing, grow intentionally. Try to like clear your head of like, I have to be here by this point and I need to scale, rapid growth, right? Because sometimes intentional growth is better. And then you can always come back to like, is this still at the heart of why I started this? Is this still me? Is this still within my brand? So I definitely try to do that with every opportunity that comes. And then the other thing is kind of like the main theme here, which is like self-doubt. And that it creeps into all of us, especially women. I have imposter syndrome. Like it is real. I see all of you. I hear you, right? But I guess in kind of like what Gacia is saying is like, just because you have self-doubt doesn't necessarily like mean that you're not ready, okay? I actually think, and I'm starting to realize that maybe that self-doubt and that questioning just means we care a lot, right? Like maybe we're just like really caring about what we're doing, so we're pausing before we put it out there. But just like having like a baby, right? Like you're never ready. You're never ready. So you just have to like go have the baby. Well, same as like a business, right? Well, like when you're kind of ready, right? So, but you're never
Can't prepare for the unknown. That's true.
But you're never completely ready. You're never completely confident. So, go out there with the best of intentions, and you will find success in one way or another. And you will be proud of yourself for doing it. And I think that pride in ourself like is very important.
Yeah.
I think that trumps confidence, if anything. Yeah. Were
you gonna add something, Gacia?
That imposter syndrome thing?
Yeah.
I I think it's more prevalent in women than it is in men. And just remember that so that you can you could get yourself out of it. It's really important because you're just going to hold yourself back. You're always going to doubt yourself. You just have to break through that doubt because someone else is going to do it. So why shouldn't it be you?
I love that. There's going to be time for questions, so know that just because I'm only asking a few, but the whole group will get up here in a couple of minutes after we talk to Lindsay. So thank you both for being a part of the panel today, the event. We'll see you back up here in a minute. Oh, and Lindsay, come on up here. Let's do this. So last but not least, but what is exciting is we've got Lindsay Colhoun of Lindsay Colhoun Design and Haven by LCD over in the Wizen Market. And Lindsay, this is her first time that I've had her on the podcast. She agreed to get a full interview here. The other 4 panelists have been on the podcast again. You can go listen to their full stories. But I'm thrilled that Lindsay agreed to come here. Speaking of Sunrose and Carrie, I met Lindsay through Sunrose, and it's always fun. It's again what we talked about in the last session of send the DM, send the text message, get to know everybody because most people are going to say yes in some form if it works for their schedule at that moment. So Lindsay, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I'm so glad that you are here and able to share your story. So Lindsay, what we like to do on the Conejo Valley Visionaries podcast is understand where did you grow up and what did you want to be when you were a kid?
So I grew up in Sherman Oaks.
Valley girl, oh no.
Born and raised in the Valley. And from a very young age, I was very creative. And I always was really into arts and crafts and making things and organizing my room and setting things up in a certain way. And I, looking back, had the beginnings of where I've been my entire life creatively. But I grew up with 2 parents that were very entrepreneurial. My mom was an actress and then an interior designer and had a similar situation to me, a design firm and a retail store. So I grew up working with her, alongside her. I didn't think I really loved it. I thought I loved more fashion and design in that respect. But the older I got, I really saw that they were very similar. It was all texture, color, merchandising, how you put things together. So,
but you wanted to pursue fashion first.
Yes.
And wanted to go to fashion school, but who told you no?
So my dad would not let me go to fashion school. He said, you need to study marketing and know how to market yourself. So if you want your own business, you can hire somebody to sew for you. You can communicate your designs, but I think going to school to learn how to sew and create and make patterns might not be the move. So I was very grateful for that advice. I studied communications in college, and I really did learn how to, certain business skills. I didn't learn that much in college, but I really understood that you had to put yourself out there and know how to market yourself.
Okay. And throughout this whole time, it sounds like your dad also an entrepreneur. You had this kind of entrepreneurial spirit. Did you know that you wanted to start something on your own? I remember you said you were already selling your own handmade goods throughout college.
Yeah, so I started a hair clip business called Bella Capella when I was 14, and I sold to Fred Siegel. I walked in with my tray of barrettes, and I said, I have these butterfly clips, I have all these things, and I had the presentation and the materials down, and I was always into, how everything was presented. And she said, oh, yeah, I want to pick your stuff up, and I would sell out all the time. So, it wasn't any crazy business, but for a 14-year-old kid, and I had it through college.
Wait, I missed the part that you were 14.
Yeah, I was 14. So I had this fearless attitude. I think I was telling you, I look back and I'm kind of surprised how fearless I was. I'd be a little more, I don't know. I guess that was a good thing, but I definitely also grew up with a father who was like, you can't make that much money doing something creative. How are you going to support yourself? Well, you'll marry a doctor or a lawyer type guy. So, I'm from that generation. So it was always like, somebody will have to take care of you. And I was on this mission to show him, oh no, I'm going to take care of myself. So I was always very motivated to just kind of prove myself. So I had a drive and a passion and really always followed my fashion career and then
so
into homes.
you graduate college and you immediately pursue fashion.
So I worked for an ad agency, and because I studied communications, the next logical step was you work for an ad agency. So I was a junior copywriter, and I wrote commercials for like Nestle Candy and Legoland, and then quickly realized behind a cubicle 9 to 5 was not for me. And I proceeded to find a job at a .com company, like during the whole .com boom, and I moved to San Francisco, and I was a copywriter for an internet company, and then very quickly started working in fashion and segued into other my creative endeavors. So,
But the next step was you created your own handbag line.
yes. So I had met a graphic designer in San Francisco, and she was really talented. It's like right when the internet came out. And
Which is like just hearing that
really
phrase. I
interesting.
know.
Okay, I have a really big birthday coming up this year. So
I know, but I appreciate it.
and her and I collaborated, and together with my, marketing background and her design sensibility, and she really was technical and great with photography and building our website, we created a handbag brand that really blew up. And so we were in stores all over the world, like Harvey Nichols in London, and, Neiman Marcus and Fred Siegel and Kitson and all the shops. So it was a very successful brand.
Well, and I think to give reference, like this is when the internet's starting. So you did not have social media to market. What were you doing? Do you remember back then how you did this?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
talk
was
about
like
you have to have, I feel like there's more gumption, lack of a better word, I don't know, of like being able to like get out there and do these things without having a resource to like figure out how to do them first.
Right. I mean, at the time, the fact that we even had a website saying to someone, oh, and you can check out our bags on our website was like, whoa, they're so cutting edge. How do they have a website? There must be millions of dollars behind this brand. And because of our expertise together, we were able to create this, back then, illusion of a really well-funded brand when we just put our heads together and for really nothing created an amazing brand. So
how long was that brand around, and what did you do after that?
So that brand was around. I worked for I sold my half of the company when I was 27, and I decided it was time to get married and have kids, or I was 28. And then I started subsequent other fashion brands.
Yeah. So at what point did you decide, so you're in fashion, so you're pursuing that part of it, but you have this, at what point did you think, let me think about interior design? Because now you are an interior designer with almost 100,000 followers on Instagram. You've got your amazing store. How did you make that transition?
So because my mom was an interior designer, I grew up in homes, and my parents were divorced when I was really young. So I grew up in both of my parents' homes with very different taste, but I loved both of their taste. And home was a very big deal to both of them. So how you entertained in your home, how you lived in your home, how it was designed. My dad was into design. My mom was into design, and not in a superficial sense, but how it functions and flows and comfort and texture and color. And I was just very aware of that from such a young age, how I felt in a space. So there were different feelings at my respective parents' homes, but they were feelings I really liked, feelings of comfort and warmth and laughter and family and entertaining and relaxing. So I was very aware of that and how that made me feel. So when I even moved into my first apartment or even my dorm, I was very particular how I felt. So it wasn't about things just being so, it was more about a feeling. So that's
So you felt, because you were, my background was in fashion too. I like to put together an outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I was not happy about mine today, but the interior design is a different thing because it's a space. These are, thinking about like at a grander scale of everything comes together. That transition from fashion into interior design, was it an easy
That
leap
was
for
not
you?
overnight.
Okay.
I think growing up and watching my mom do it, watching my dad, watching how they'd redesign, remodel, what they would do, definitely stuck with me. But I think anything you're interested in life is a learned experience. So, when I got my first apartment and I wanted it to look a certain way, and then I bought my first house and I wanted to do a little remodel, I think I didn't realize how much I had really absorbed from my parents and my upbringing, but it was I would take a stab. Let me redo my own kitchen and see how this works out, and then over time, friends would say, can you help me with my kitchen? You really did a good job on your kitchen. And it just kind of snowballed over the years.
Interesting. I love that. So it was kind of organic transition. While at the same time you were continuing, you were at a fashion styling business, so you were still keeping the fashion part of it going. At what point did you turn and put all of your eggs in one basket and move to interior design?
So really in 2019, I officially launched my design business. I was at the time working in fashion. It had led into wardrobe styling, and I was traveling quite a bit. And I had said to my business partner, I really want to incorporate home. It's all lifestyle, how you dress, what products you use, how your home is. It's all a feeling. And she was really not into the whole moving into the home arena. And I started on the side. We still continued with our wardrobe styling and fashion brands. And then COVID happened. And that launched me full-time into home because nobody had anywhere to go. We didn't need to dress anyone for anything. So I look back and go, it was really kismet that I did start that business because all of a sudden my phone was off the hook and I had so many jobs I didn't know what to do with myself. So it was really lucky timing.
I asked you this before, but it feels like you are some sort of master manifester. And I know you don't love that necessarily, but there's something about this idea that you see it and you do it. We've talked about, I think the theme today is go for it. Was that do you feel like you were, in today's terms, manifesting it, or was it just you always kind of knew what you wanted to do? I
didn't always know what I wanted to do. I always knew I was creative, but I also knew, I had this little monkey in my head going, but can you really sustain a life being creative? And, it's like you have the struggling artist or
your dad in your head.
My dad in my head, telling me I'd marry a doctor and good luck with your art. But so I think yes, I've manifested everything, but I think too, it's over time, I've had more and more of a clear vision of what I want and what I'm interested in. I was interested in fashion, I was told, and I've had very successful fashion lines. And I feel like I always say to my kids, you can be and do whatever you want. You can, as long as you're clear and you know what you enjoy. That another thing my dad would always say to me is, it's most of your life. You have to love what you do. So that really stuck with me. And I love creating. And I know that, and I like creating clothing. I like creating furniture. I like creating spaces. I like creating a feeling. So I think over the years when people would come to my house and go, God, I walk in your space and I love the vibe in here. I realized I had something. I kind of thought anybody could do that.
Yeah. Interesting.
So.
You had young kids, you had kids, and you thought, talking about work-life balance, this idea that maybe that business could also, as an interior designer, could also incorporate your kids?
Yeah, so I I have my design firm, and I specialize in gut renovations of homes, and we do full service down to furnishing and the whole thing. And then I've started my retail store called Haven, and kind of like sanctuary, safe space. And my daughter's name's Haven. So, and then I also started a home staging company called Staged by Lindsay Colhoun Design. I love doing a project for real estate, and 24 hours we're the hero. Where on a project, sometimes I'm on it for 3 or 4 years and we're not the hero for a really long time. So home staging's a really fun, fast business, but mostly I started the home staging because at the time my son was 16 and I really wanted a way to involve my son and his friends in a business of mine. So I would hire about 6 to 8 of his friends who would do moving for me all summer and work with me on these jobs. And it was kind of my way of connecting with my soon-to-be adult children and have something positive for them to do, keep them out of trouble, but also be around them a little bit. So I've been a single mom and I raise my kids. I take care of them. It's me, myself, and I. So
And your kids are so sweet, and you can tell that
and
they
they're
like
very
really
good
respect.
kids.
Yes, it's amazing.
So it's been very important to me. I've had to work hard and I want to work hard, but as all of you have mentioned, it's so important. First and foremost, I'm a mother and my kids are my everything, but I don't have the luxury of not working. And I wanted to be able to create a lifestyle and a career that I could create beautiful things and beautiful memories with my kids and provide for my children. So it's been really rewarding. And my son's now 19 in college. My daughter's going to be 18 this year. And my daughter's worked for me at my store and been interested. It's really fun to be able to involve them. And
Yeah, I love that that was like at the forefront of some of your sort of extensions of your brand. Speaking of which, Haven at the Wizen Market opened a year and a half ago.
yes.
That's a big step from having kind of a service business to then having a retail space. Can you tell us a little bit about how that happened and how it's going?
Yeah. I actually was at lunch at Sunrose one day, and I said to Carrie,
This is not sponsored by
I
Sunrose,
know,
by the way.
I know. Thank you. So, and I was like, I want that spot there. I worked in a warehouse, and my team and I were always very secluded. We were in a big warehouse, we weren't near beautiful coffee shops and restaurants and people other than our clients who were not fun to see every day. So I saw this spot and I thought, I want to connect with the community a little more. Like you all, it's been word of mouth. I've been very lucky with my design business, but I wanted to know people in my community. I wanted to enjoy a beautiful lunch, and I wanted a little bit more of a lifestyle. So I opened the store a little bit on a whim, but fully, I say all this, I've been very clear with each step that I take in my business. And I think that's the biggest thing, is having clarity. And I opened the store and it was everything I hoped for and more. I have amazing neighbors there that talk about community, people that come in from the area. The Wizen is such a grounded, lovely, vibrant, rootsy center. And people are there every day and they're just happy to be there. And it's really nice.
And it sounds like you're able to bring in, have the fashion background, or like you're curating a space so people can go there and kind of find their favorite things.
And so with the shop, my goal was to bring a taste of what I do in homes, and really talking about being selfish and what you would want, but I saw a need in the marketplace for where are home items that you're not walking in and it's, $1,000 to buy a tray for your bathroom and this and that, but it's also not Target. But where can I find, and I'm a shopper and a hunter, I can find anything at TJ Maxx or wherever. high, low, everything in between, but how can I have accessible price points and have really beautiful items that people could feel like they have a curated setup? So whether it's their bathroom counter or like scents that they put on their body or just little pickup items, gifts, we have very few pieces of furniture. We have a taste of some of my custom furniture, but I wanted to create that feeling so people could replicate it for themselves.
Yeah, I love that. So you've been full-time interior design since 2019. You're now also a retail space owner. What has been the most challenging part of this career? You mentioned your clients a couple times. Is it the
Clients?
the service people part of it?
So I'm in a business where, unlike buying coffee or people are handing me probably the most money they're handing anyone out of their life savings. So when they're doing a massive remodel on their home or tearing down a home and starting from scratch, they're really putting a lot of trust into our vision, our design, budgetary. So there's a lot of moving emotional parts when we're working with people. And the design is not the hard part of my business. It's dealing with clients and their emotions and their relationships. The husband's mad at the wife, the this, the that I don't want that. We get punished because of it. It's a whole thing. Yeah. So we've had to set a lot of boundaries and really figure out ways of working around that. And in the beginning, it was very tough. And I would take things so personally and be so upset or, I've had to learn to kind of grow thick skin and be very diplomatic in how I work. And also like the processes and systems that I put into place are very specific. And I'll work with one person, one point person. I've had to develop, it's all trial and error. It's like you try this, it doesn't work. Okay, how do I pivot? How do I segue? And day to day in my business and what we do and all the moving parts, it's like constant problem solving. So it's putting out fires left and right. Someone on a job broke a gas line and this went off. Okay, did that, to like.
It's not as glamorous as it looks.
It's not as glamorous as it looks.
Okay.
But you just have to be able to keep track of a lot.
And one thing that we shared over coffee is that we were, I think everybody as a business owner, just as a human, we go through ebbs and flows, especially when you're running a business. Sometimes you feel like, what the hell am I doing? Mm-hmm. And why is it not moving forward in that moment? We shared, not to share personal experience, but we've had this conversation recently. And you mentioned processes and that being a big part of how you sort of like get yourself back into the groove. You kind of take a step back and look at what systems you have in place and revisit them. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm always pivoting and reworking and going, this doesn't work. I'm always trying to make things easier, not harder. And I have a team of people that work for me. And the second hardest thing in business is like expectations out of a team and working with other people and what their roles are. And, most people don't share the same level as motivation as I do. It's my business, not theirs, and learning how to work with people and keep them motivated and keep your vision and brand on track is like a day-to-day work in progress. And I'm always creating a system and then editing the system and changing. And I don't want to make things harder for people. I want to make it easier. But communications within a company and a team it seems like it should be pretty easy with everything out there, but it's a constant challenge. But, it's
but you revisit
trial and error
and
figuring
forward.
It out. Yeah. And yeah.
I love it. What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of when I hear people say, I walked into one of your projects or your store and, oh my gosh, the feeling I get. Because I don't design things to look staged. I design things to bring a sense of warmth. And when I've created that, I'm like, okay, I did my job. And I I go into a space and I'm overthinking and rethinking because creating warmth is very hard. Creating something that looks sterile and pretty and clean is very easy. But it's all the nuances that create that warmth and feeling. So I think that's like what I'm always so proud to hear.
What is your vision for your brand, for your businesses?
I'm kind of moving in the direction of I've been working on a lot of brand collaborations and sponsorship. So I just finished one with Our House and Article and a lot of really big brands. And I really I'm really moving in that direction. And I would like to one day invest and do all my own properties. And really, I love creating, and I'll always create. So it's fun to work. I'm a team player, so I really like seeing another brand's vision and what can I bring to the table? How can I make it edgier? Or how can I do this? Or how can I bring a certain feeling to it? So that's kind of my next phase.
Okay, I love it. And you did tease maybe another retail store. So put that out there in the ether that maybe we'll see something else at some point. Okay, I've got a couple rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Okay, what is your favorite thing to do in the Conejo Valley?
Well, one of my favorite things to do is to go to Wizen Center. I'm not biased, but I would go there all the time before I opened a store. And I love the feeling there. It's such a vibe. And I'm not like one for mini malls or brand new or the Commons, or it just feels so sterile. So I love the feeling there.
Yeah.
So that's my
You
go-to.
frequent and you stay there, and now you get to hang out and work
Yeah,
there.
now I'm there all the time.
I know a lot of the work you do is in Old Agora and in this area. Do you have a favorite neighborhood?
I love Old Agora. I actually started a furniture collection, and my first piece is called the Old Agora Shelf. So, so.
Okay, and even as being like a transplant, you didn't grow up here, but you felt like this deep love for it.
Yeah, I've always been really connected to like nature and anything ranchy or horse property. It's always been, even when my first apartment was very like industrial, farmy, modern, whatever, so it's not like I've always had the same style. I love mixing all flavors together. I love rustic, but not everything overly rustic. I like mixing new and old. And so I think like Agora and those communities really speak to me
has a mix of both.
architecturally. And
Okay. My last question for you is, what is one piece of advice you would offer to a first-time entrepreneur?
my one piece of advice, along with what these lovely women said, is definitely go for it. Have a very clear vision of what you want and be careful what you wish for, because everything you want will come your way. You put yourself out there, you want to do this. Somebody knows, oh, my cousin has a best friend that did that here. And you find that life really leads you where you're supposed to be. So I think trust is a really big thing too. Like, trust the process and know that if you see a need for something, other people probably do too.
Amazing. Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Would you be open to staying up here on the stage? We're going to invite everybody up, and we're going to do a Q&A if anybody has questions. I'm going to pass around the mic in a second.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is Lauren, and my question's for Lindsay. I'm a local mom of 5 who's just starting her interior styling / design business. I just registered my business this week, so super excited. Thank you. But the biggest thing for me has been the business and marketing arm of my business. I'm a lot like you, super creative ever since I was a kid. Interior design kind of runs in my blood, but never professionally. So we all were stay-at-home moms who learned how to do this on our own. And I am a little bit intimidated And it seems like because you went to school for marketing, you have this kind of undercurrent of understanding what that's like. So what would your advice be for someone like me who doesn't have the time to go back to school, who doesn't have the time to really invest in understanding this, but maybe feels like I fall a little bit short in that area?
So even though I have a marketing background, I'm really bad at marketing myself. I feel like it's always so, it almost feels like I'm like bragging about myself to people. I can market anybody else. But with that being said, I think like start with your own stuff. Like do what you need to live and breathe what you promote. So having a sense of organization and style and vibe within your house and within how you live and how you put things together, I think you should always start there. And then you have friends who come over and they comment and, oh, and I know this woman, I think just trust the process organically and put yourself out there that that's what you do, because you would be surprised through your kids and their friends. And so many people want to support that.
Yeah, I'm seeing that happening already. And
Yeah.
I've got 5 of my own clients and I'm super excited.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
I just took off the last 2 months.
Wow.
But the systems part is the part that I am struggling the most with. So I'll be excited to learn. I'm
you know
following
what?
you now.
Yeah, and you can always contact me on the side. I'm happy to
Oh, that'd be so
chat
wonderful.
with you and
Thank you.
give you a few pointers because
Yeah, I can see you understand systems. So
Yeah.
that's the thing I need the most.
Yeah, and ChatGPT is
Yeah,
pretty
true.
amazing.
It's helped me start my business for sure. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your question. And I guess maybe a follow-up question to that, talking about systems and processes, as somebody who's not even created an LLC yet, like at how early on did you all get some systems in place, or is anybody else struggling like me to put those in place?
I was very overwhelmed by the whole thing. And so I started small. And so for me, it was like, okay, first start getting some, I had to start my business. I had to get an NPI, and in the medical field, there's some of those rules I had to do. But then I was like, okay, I can wait to make a website. I can wait to get business cards. So I just set little goals for myself like that till finally all the check marks were checked. But it took me a while.
Yeah.
Same. I feel like you and I were doing that at the same time. We were always texting each other. I was like, did you file with the SOS? Did you do this? Did you do
maybe
that?
like an accountability partner.
Yeah, yes. Definitely helpful to have a friend in business starting around the same time as you as well. But yeah, same. And like Bieta said, like starting small is helpful. Like, okay, you don't have to pay somebody to design your website right away. You can start with Squarespace. They have templates for you. And then just last year, I paid somebody to fix my website. So it's just like start small. And then as you're making more money, then you can invest back. But I think having systems in place in the beginning is very important to help you stay organized and to like get you started on the right foot.
Great. Yeah.
I consider myself the queen of systems and processes.
Oh, okay. Let's all DM Gacia. I'm here for that.
It's one thing that I'm really proud of. I live and breathe for it. I love it so much because once you do it and you see what it does, it's incredible. It's like sort of like a self-fulfilling thing that I do, but I used LegalZoom in the beginning. And like literally they were my best friend. Like I was super paranoid about getting everything done perfectly, but I relate a lot about the communication when you're starting to build a team and like creating systems and processes in place. Sometimes the most challenging part of it is you create a system, but does anybody use it? Yeah. How do you hold people accountable to use it, right? So it's a lot about like learning human behavior and understanding it through like empathy and putting yourself in that person's shoes and what's a motivating factor for them to be able to use this system. How would it make their lives easier? How will it make them feel more confident? It's super important if you're growing and wanting to, build a team. Systems and processes are just like your bread and butter.
Well, and to be fair, you did mention in our podcast interview, you're opening 5 stores in 5 years is your goal. So in order to do scaling, right, that much, you really have to be able to have that in place, especially in a business like yours in which you have employees that are, maybe not like ideally you've got a culture that keeps them excited, but you also really have to have that in place. Awesome question. Who else?
Hi. So I consider myself a business owner, but I think really what I am is the operator of my business and not the owner. And I'm wondering what advice you have. I guess part A of my question is, how do you know when to outsource something that you have no business doing? And how do you get comfortable making that financial leap? Because I think where I'm at in my business, I feel like I'm just constantly in this like toddler stage. And I feel like the next stage is for me to outsource or do something so that I'm no longer feeling like the operator. Yeah.
Can I just ask you to share what your business is, the name of it and what it is?
Thank you. Yes, my name is Gigi Corkett, and my business is Ready Renew You. I'm a personal trainer and movement coach. So that's my business. And now my husband and I have also created a joint business where I'm doing group fitness, and he's leading people or teaching outdoor skills to people, so that the idea is that everybody gets outdoors and hikes and feels safe doing it, both from the physical standpoint as well as the practical standpoint.
That's amazing. So you're actively, though, training plus trying to run your business, I imagine.
Yeah,
Okay.
two.
So how do we?
Not one, just two.
Right. Okay. So how do we get her out of like the every day you're doing all the things?
Congratulations.
you.
That's
Yes.
amazing. I think for me, it was, I was in that same exact position. Sorry. And I got to the point where I was like hanging by a thread a little bit. There's still days that I feel that way, but I got to the point where I had to make a sacrifice of what things I want to have full control of and what things can I let go of a little bit. And then budget was the next question, right? What things can I, in my current state of business, afford to pay, and what things have to wait on the burner for a little bit. So I think that was the decision making that I had to help me delegate a little bit, because you can't do it all. It's impossible. You get to a point where you're like, I need to keep my sanity and my mental health a little bit too. So that was kind of
What was the
led
first thing you outsourced? What did you decide was the thing?
my website. I tried and I failed. And I got to the point and I was like, this is the image that people get of your business, right? And I want to do it right. And so that I decided that I was going to outsource that, and I did. And
You've got a great website. I love that. Anybody else want to
I
help
think-
Gigi?
I think it's important to identify what part of the business is so overwhelming, and then it's also important to keep control of that part. So like, for example, in my business, accounting was very overwhelming, and one of the first things that I outsourced, but then I kind of lost sight of certain things that created a lot of financial mistakes. So you kind of always have to have your eyes on it, but also be aware, or going in a totally different direction, the use of interns, someone who's going to business school who might be really good at whatever it is that you need is always a great way, because they can get college credit. So when I was first starting my business, I definitely utilized internships with kids that could get college credit.
I love that.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so my personal training business is Ready Renew You, and the hiking business is 5 miles further.
Amazing. Congratulations. It's funny. The last year's event, the majority of the panelists started the business with their husband. And this year we've got all solo. So the dynamics are just interesting, like being able to like work with your partner or not. So it's kudos. Any other questions? Yeah.
Hi, I'm not going to stand, but I'm Lori. I'm a business owner also.
You got to shout out what your business is.
It's called Village Wellness Family Counseling. We're a family systems practice in Thousand Oaks. So you guys have all, you just kind of started to touch on it, but you've all shared like all these wins, right? And all these successes. And I think as a business owner too, there's a lot of messy parts of starting a business. So I'd be curious of what made you not quit when something got hard.
That's such a good question. What made you not quit? Ooh, that's what we were kind of talking about. Like in the middle of it, it's hard to keep going. Hilary?
Yeah, sure.
And Hilary, to be fair, you just doubled down on it recently. No, but that's good. But I think that that's like the other thing. It's like, when do you decide to quit or when do you decide to go all in?
Yeah. So, Christina's mentioning that I was part owner with a friend of mine who's sitting in the audience. That's Christina. We were I was a co-owner with her of Pitter Patter Play, which is a Mommy and Me program. Christina now has the full reins on that, and she is moving forward with that and doing a wonderful job. And that gave me the time to really invest in this. But I think what makes me not quit is that, like a lot of you and like many of the women up here, especially Lindsay, I am a very creative person. So if I didn't have this outlet, I'd be finding it somewhere else. Like when I had kids, I had to do something. When my career pivoted to something that wasn't so creative, I opened an Etsy shop. I'm always finding ways to feed my soul, I guess. And this particular business feeds my soul, so I can't quit. If I quit this, then I'm going to end up opening something else just in a few months from now, because it's just it's a part of me, and I'm real passionate about the art and the community connection.
I'll chime in. I've wanted to quit many times, and I've had to take a step back sometimes. Even a few months ago, I had to take a step back for a few weeks and regroup. So I think I'm so passionate about what I do. I love it, but I'm human and I'm exhausted sometimes, and it's a lot of work, and sometimes we're not performing as well, or we're overperforming and don't have enough staff. So there's always problems, but like I say to my staff, like there's only solutions. So like, what can we do to move forward? And sometimes I have to take care of myself a little more, because there were times I was working 18 hours a day, and to me, that's not success. I don't have a life, so maybe paper it looked like I was successful, but I wasn't truly like living the life that I want to design for myself. So I think it's constantly reevaluating and pausing sometimes. And
are you on the brink of maybe quitting? Can we help you, inspire you? I know, because you've got a group of women in here who can.
Be there, but maybe like the therapist in me is like, there's also a really, really hard side. Very. And if
Yeah.
you don't like talk about that side too, then somebody gets there and they're like, well, nobody told me that part. They just told me these like beautiful successes, and not all the things you have to do to like get over it. And I don't know, maybe that's my therapy for the day. It's that part, like just not leaving that out of this. Very real.
Yeah, that's like Instagram versus reality.
Yeah.
Totally. Like just me getting here tonight. Like I left my house and my son was crying, and my husband looked fairly resentful that I was leaving the house with him and the two kids like that. And I got in the car, and I'm so glad that we did the tapping thing, because it got me in the space. And yeah, it is not sunshine and unicorns and rainbows all the time. So you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
You just wanted us to start telling you all our problems so we can come see you later. I get it. It's good marketing.
There is one quote that always plays in my mind whenever I have those moments, and I have many, but it's, you haven't come this far to come this far. And I always think about that, like all the sacrifices, all the time, all the money, all the things that went into it. You can't go back now. So
Yes, thank you for sharing that site. And you're right. In the interviews, I do not go into too messy. I always like to ask what the challenging part is, but I think most people try to sugarcoat it a little bit, and not in a bad way. But sometimes too, it's easier. Hindsight's 2020, so we probably don't always remember the hardest parts of it. But there's definitely the ebbs and flows that are important to know that it's not always going to be seamless.
Hi. So again, my name is Christina. I am the now sole owner of Pitter Patter Play, a mommy and me business. And my thing that I find is I have all these amazing ideas and dreams, and I'm always wanting to do more. At what point do you sit back and you're like, what I'm doing now, it's working, people are loving it, it's okay to just be okay where you are and not always reaching for the stars?
I totally understand that feeling. I think it's good to really hone in on knowing what you're good at, because you don't have to do everything. And I don't know if maybe I'm assuming, but you see other things going on and all the things you could do and all the possibilities that are out there. But I think it's understanding really what you guys are good at, why people keep coming back, why people are signing up. And I think also listening to your clients or your guests or your customers and hearing on what they have to say. And you can kind of create the steps and look at how it would look if you went down that one thing, that extra thing, or the new thing you want to try. Pretend you've already done it. Like, really walk through those steps. And if you lose the excitement for it, it starts to fade, then don't do it. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's like you have all these ideas, but I know it's hard because time is very precious. But if there are some that are like you really feel strongly about, go through the rabbit hole and see if that passion still sticks for that, and talk about it with a lot of people and see how they feel about it too.
That's a great answer.
Okay. I also feel like doing too much, too soon, or too fast is not necessarily detrimental, but it's not great. Because I'm always like, oh, we should have a workout class. We should host this class. We should do this. We should do that. And I'm like, no, let's just focus on what we do and be really good at what we do. And then maybe in a couple months we can revisit. But I've found that, yes, I get caught up in I want to start an app. I want to do this. But I'm like, if we just stay focused, we're going to be okay. That just trying to keep it so simple, which is helpful. And then holding the boundary too, and not trying to do too much.
I like that. And I think the idea too that, just because you have all those ideas, if they don't happen right this second doesn't mean that they won't happen. And I think of Lindsay's story too. It's like you have a clear idea where you want to go. Maybe it's not the right time right now, but it'll happen at some point. Okay, I know we're over time right now for the Q&A. We have the breakout sessions. Is there one last question before, because I was looking over here and she's wearing pink. I love the pink. Let's see.
Hello.
Will you introduce yourself and let us know if you're a business owner, and if so, what
first off, thank you so much, ladies. I'm very inspired by attending today. I almost didn't make it because I was on the wait list to get a ticket.
Woohoo! Glad you're here. Yay!
So my name is Janet Kish. I'm a former Boss Babe executive for corporate America. I have 20 years of experience with owner-operators and franchisees here in California, nationally and internationally in 29 countries. Oh. But then here we are 22 years later, burned out babe now. I was done with that role. My nervous system, my life was falling apart. I left a very good salary. We're talking about a $500,000 salary that I walked away from 7 months ago. And here I am today, 7 months later, launching my own brand, which is called Ascendata Business Consulting for events and any business. So it's really a brand that I've created with all my experience and being able to give it back to everybody, everything I know, and not gatekeep, and be able to help you with that strategy and that process, so that way you can focus as an entrepreneur on the things that you're really good at and the things you do want to worry about. So I really came with that space. I actually had clients before I even started, which is amazing.
Congratulations.
But, this has been great that I've been able to hear from all of you because, as a Latina, being the oldest in my family, we don't get taught to run businesses and be a boss, babe. So I've been breaking a lot of barriers and boundaries in my family, and I'm the first one to do so. So hearing all you beautiful ladies really motivates me because this was a big decision that a lot of people are like, what the heck are you doing leaving such a good career? We would wish we had that opportunity, and it's been great, but I think this is another step in my life where I would really appreciate to hear one thing, and whoever wants to share, is if you could start all over again, what would you do different?
Oof, that's a good one. And congratulations on making that big change.
I would do it sooner. Because I did it during COVID with a 9-month-old. That was not pretty. So I would do it sooner.
We got a lot of shaking heads. I think that's right. I think the idea of
second that.
Go for it. There's no better time than now. I mean, and to the point of if it's COVID, 9-month-old, you can do it anytime. Amazing. Well, thank you for your question. Thank you everybody for attending. We've got, as I mentioned, the breakout session held by Kristen Bell and Desmond Pereira, and they're going to be over here in the breakout session. You ladies stand up real quick. I know we've cut your time a little bit short, but if we can at least do some kind of version of it right now, if you are out here wanting to really fine tune your value proposition and also identify your target audience, these ladies are going to help you go do that. If you want to hang out and just chat for the next 25 minutes, you can also do that too. So thank you all so much. Thank you for listening to Conejo Valley Visionaries. If you like today's episode, make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And don't forget to rate and review us. That's the best way to support the podcast. To enter our giveaways, learn about local events, and to find out more about each guest, follow @Conejo Valley Visionaries on Instagram. If you want to share your visionary story on the podcast, send us an email. We are always open to guest nominations. Email ConejoValleyVisionaries@gmail.com. This episode was produced by Christina Denstead and Justin K. Sloan. Conejo Valley Visionaries is edited by Justin K. Sloan and J. Sloan Productions.